Okay, Tony's here, so we can start now. Welcome, folks. Welcome back to the Bailey Workshop and the guitar making channel. Got a busy one today. Workshop Wednesday, so pretty random. But what I wanted to talk about is I've had a few sort of member questions or member issues, let's say, come up. So we're going to talk about a few of them. So we're going to start with Apo, who's left a message on the forum. He's just starting out, and we're going to start talking about him, and then we're going to talk about James Bissett, who's also just starting out, but they're both different ends of the spectrum, so it's quite interesting. And yeah, a few issues and stuff to talk about there, including neck joint styles and also the balance of the guitar. So we had questions about how to make a guitar balance. I'm going to hopefully remember to answer all those. And a little live demo. I always do something live, don't I? So just to carry on with tradition, I've got a quick one. On a I think it was last Saturday, we did sharpening. So I'm putting together a playlist of guitar making tools and techniques, or guitar making techniques, actually. Basic techniques that you need to build your guitar. Every technique that you need to build your guitar. So I've done bandsawing, routing, marking out. Still got carving to come and a few others, but I did sharpening at the weekend, and we were sharpening a chisel. So one of the questions I had was about sharpening scraper blades. So this is a cabinet maker's scraper blade. You sometimes call it a card scraper. I just call it a scraper. I'm going to show you how we sharpen those up. I'm going to show you what it's for as well, and some other info and bits and tricks and trips about the scraper. So I'll finish with that. That'll be later on, live demo at the end, okay? And also something else. I don't know if you remember, but on another previous live stream we made a truss rod, and Lewis, who's my apprentice, who's on lockdown, he left a comment about wrapping his truss rod in gold.
Now, what did he need? What did he need to play like Tommy Emmanuel?
Yeah, what did he need to play like Tommy Emmanuel? So we need a gold truss rod, and it needs to be glued in with unicorn poo. So I'm going to show you some later on. He managed to track some down. Can you believe it? eBay's amazing, isn't it? So we found some unicorn poo on eBay, and I'll show you that if you stick around till the end. Want to start though with a very quick update. So over the last, well, since about a month after lockdown started, we've been live streaming every Wednesday and Saturday at 1 p.m. I don't think we've missed one, so I think we've done quite well. Quite pleased with ourselves. We intend to carry on doing this at least until our 5,000 subscriber special, which is coming up. When we hit the 5,000 subscriber special, then things are going to change. We're going to change up a gear, okay? So more on that later. It's going to be about a month or so, I think, but we're coming up to that. If you've got any ideas, by the way, of what we should do for our 5,000 subscriber special, let us know in the comments. We've got some ideas of what we're going to do, and it's going to be a good one anyway, so watch out for that. But up until then, I'm trying to get all the guitar techniques done before then, so it's all done and dusted, and then we can move on to something new. And these are all the subjects that I've been asked to cover since lockdown. So well, I'm just going to quickly read through the list, and we're going to cross off ones that we've done. So yeah, the ones that I say I've done, then there's already a live stream that has covered that subject. So you'll be able to go through the channel and find it. So Carol, have we got a big fat pen, big fat green pen over there?
I've always got a big fat pen.
I've got a really itchy nose today, I don't know why.
That one's cool.
So top of the list was finishing course, and I'm afraid that that's still top of the list. But that is, as soon as everything calms down and the dust settles, that's top of my list. So I'm not going to cross that one off. Drop top we've got. I don't know if maybe we'll get a...
What do you want it? Which camera?
Anyone that can see. Get this one over here. Drop top.
No, that's not very good.
Camera 3. This one then.
2.
Right, drop top we did cover. If you don't know what a drop top is, it's when you get a thin cap like this and you bend it over the back of the body, and you end up with an elbow carve that's kind of built in. Made famous by Tom Anderson drop tops, but also my pal Rob Williams is a kind of UK drop top specialist. Get one of his drop tops, they're ace. And then get one of mine. So that's a drop top, we covered that. Brilliant. Tool maintenance, sharpening, plane blades and chisels, done. Saw and drill bits, well that's different, we'll cover that in another video, so I won't cross that off. Fit and acoustic pickup, looking forward to that one. Through neck strat, well we did cover through necks. Didn't do a complete build, but I did cover the important aspects of the through neck, so you'll find that on the live stream if you go through. Carved top thin line, well we're going to talk about that in a minute. and a small scale acoustic with a 12 fret neck join. Haven't actually specifically covered that, but if you want to make a small style acoustic, you can just follow on the course. If you go to guitarmakingsite.co.uk, then you'll find my courses where we start with a blank piece of paper and we lay out your guitar design step by step, and then you build it step by step. And I take you through the whole process, and you end up with a finished guitar. So you can do that on the course already. I just haven't done a specific video about it, but I will do. Binding for bodies and necks, not done that yet. Inlays we did. Neck profiles we didn't do. CNC we haven't done. Bolt-on neck we've covered. We covered laminate through necks. Archtop guitar, I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well. Yeah, we've got binding twice on there. I'll cross that one off. So binding is fairly simple on a flat top electric, but as soon as you go away from anything flat, like there's any kind of carve on it or shaping, it gets a lot more tricky. I did do one on binding though, so you can search for that on the site and you'll find that. There's a basic whole half an hour on binding, and then I did a live stream on it as well. And what I'm doing here, if you switch to camera 3, Carol, this is a tailpiece end graft that I'm actually working on as we speak. And yeah, for Eddie. And yeah, I'm ready to actually scrape this and clean it up. So that's what I'm sharpening my scraper for. So we'll get to that in a bit. A bit more binding coming up. Recovering from mistakes, that's on the list, but that's going to be an ongoing thing. I'll probably make a separate playlist for that. And yeah, if you've got any processes where you're halfway through and you've made a mistake and you've gone wrong, then nobody likes to share that. But it is really useful for the rest of us if you do share it. And usually I've got an easy fix for you. And you might think it's the end of the world, but quite often it'll be something that I've come across many times before, and I can just give you an easy fix. You know, fingers crossed. Guitar makers' fingers, look, crossed. Yeah, so that's what the courses are all about. And the forum as well is all about helping each other out with fixes. And I personally love it. I thrive on that kind of stuff. So that's what it's all about. We love sharing. We're not one of those places where they just give you a little bit of info and then you have to guess the rest. I want you to be able to take what I tell you, go away and start building guitars. So recovering from mistakes is going to be an ongoing thing. Strange requests that you've made. Yeah, the one string bass is one that stands out there, but we'll maybe do a video on that at some point. Double neck guitar, fake binding. Fake binding will be covered with the finishing course as part of the finishing process if you're going to have fake binding. And double neck, well, it's basically the same as a single neck, but twice as much work, isn't it? Maybe we'll do a video on that at some point. If there's any of these things that tickle your fancy, by the way, then make sure to leave a comment so that I know that that's what you want. That's what this is all about, okay? So I want to make sure that I'm giving you the content that you want.
Well, can I just interrupt? Because Bagpress says he's happy to help out with the CNC section, especially now that James Bissett has
awesome.
The graphic app.
That's brilliant.
Nice
one. Yes, thanks, James, for finding that as well.
And TV 10100101 says he wants, can we do more recovering from mistakes? Because he's got plenty. He makes plenty that he needs to recover from. Yeah, likewise, Tony. The thing is, like I say, is like when something goes wrong, you know that feeling that you get where it's just the end of the world. It's, oh no! And the last thing anyone wants to do is share it. And so there's been many times where something like that's happened in here, and I wish I had shared it, because the end result has always been, you know, we always sort it out in the end. So yeah, I'm definitely going to start sharing more of that. So right. Cheers for that. He says he did a carve through top.
Yes, we've seen that. If you want to see a recent one, have a look on the forum and you'll see where Tony's carved through his hollow body guitar. He's carved into the hollow body part of his guitar. So he's got an extra hole. But It'll be interesting to see how it gets fixed. So head over to the forum and you'll see that.
Grey Hart says, is there a formulation for the depth of a neck pocket on a flat top electric? Is that something that you can cover, or is there a formulation? Would you want to answer that later?
Yeah, that's like a specific build question. I'm just going to give you an answer. I would say about 18 or 19 mil deep for a standard bolt-on neck. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it. I go about 18 mil deep to 19 mil.
To cover that on the course.
Maybe we'll do a video on that at some point, but it's down to the thickness of your neck blank. See, that's just the nearest one I can pick up. See, when I'm making this, I make this 21 mil thick, the maple part, and then the fretboard is about 5.5, 6 mil thick. So they come out about 27 mil altogether, just over an inch. So this part's only 21 mil. If you make your neck socket more than 20 mil, then there's the danger of this starts catching on the body. Or especially if you've got a scratch plate, the scratch plate will hit that part. So I'd recommend about 18 mil deep, and then this part of our neck is 21 mil. So that leaves about 3 mil of the neck sticking out, which is enough for a scratch plate to go under the fretboard. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense.
Yep, is this that part?
So yeah, I'm just going to finish the list. We're nearly there, folks. Decals, we did decals. I'm going to cross that off. Decals we did. Voicing the soundboard, the black art. Well, yeah, I'll make 100 videos on that. And then after the 100th video, maybe we might know a bit what we're talking about. PRS style body carve, that's coming up. I'm making this guitar for Roland. The walnut guitar for Roland is going to be a carved top. So I'm actually going to live stream as I carve that. That's going to be coming up in the next week or two. And I'm getting requests for one-piece bolt-on neck with a skunk stripe. So that's putting in the truss rod from the back. The skunk stripe is... Have I got one? Yeah, I've misplaced my neck with a skunk stripe. It doesn't matter. But the skunk stripe is when you see that stripe down the back of the neck. The truss rod's been inlaid from the back. So it's a bit more tricky than the recommended method that I'm showing you on the course. But it's perfectly doable, and I will do a video on that at some point. One-piece bolt-on neck. I won't cross it off. I'll leave it on there. And dovetail neck joint. Yes, I've actually filmed doing a dovetail, but I haven't edited it. I may well just decide to do it live, or I might edit it up, but that's definitely one in progress. So that covers the list. So now you guys know what I'm working on. I'm going to just talk a little bit about getting started. So I got this message from Apo. Hi there, I'm Apo. I quit my job last year and decided to be a luthier. I know, crazy. It was partly for health reasons, but mostly because I want to be happy most of the time. I'm 46. I trained as a joiner when I was 16, and then went on to do roadie, sound engineer type things for 15 years. Then I got a proper job which made me miserable, so I quit, and now I'm here. I've been doing a lot of learning online, as you do, and I'm accumulating books on guitar building faster than I can read them. I was just about to build a small workshop in the garden before lockdown, and it looks like I can now start to make progress. Because I'm just getting started, I'm still open about what I want to build. I play guitar and bass, but I'm happy to build whatever is most in demand. Okay, so a lot of things there. First of all, I wouldn't recommend anybody quit their job to become a guitar maker. But having said that, I did. And if you really want to become a guitar maker, then at some point you're going to have to, because it is very time consuming. There are a lot of guys who kind of do it in their spare time, and that's great. But if you want to be a professional guitar maker like me, then you know that's what you've got to do. Now, a very wise man once told me, he asked me this question actually. He said, Mark, what's the difference between those bands that spend every week rehearsing in the town hall and they do their gigs every week, but they never seem to get anywhere? What's the difference between them guys and the guys that actually make it? So I thought for a bit and I didn't know the answer. So I said, I don't know, what's the answer? And he said, the ones that made it, they had to make it. They had no choice. So, you know, that's the position I'm in. This is my life, it's what I do. I'm a guitar maker. And there is no, you know, I can't fail because I'll just pick up another piece of wood and try again. So I don't recommend, please don't all give up your jobs tomorrow. But if you are going to become a professional guitar maker, there will come a point where you will have to commit yourself. And the only way to really make it in this business is to do that, completely commit yourself, throw yourself into it. And so for anyone who does that, I've got total respect, and I think there's room for all of us. So people just say to me sometimes, but Mark, aren't you creating your own competition? But I don't think I am, because I think we're all a big group of friends, aren't we? And we all help each other out. You know, if you need something, I might have it. And if I need something, I'm amazed how many answers and good stuff has come from the forum for me, you know. So I'm getting just as much out of it as anybody. And, you know, I'm just happy to be part of the guitar making revolution. So thanks for that, Apo, and best of luck to you. At the end there you say you're open about what you want to build. So what I highly recommend is that you start with something fairly basic. So this is the guitar that we build on the course, and also the same guitar that I built on the Lockdown Lucy, we call it. I think, I'm not sure who gave it the name, but thanks, it was one of you guys that gave it the name.
It was Tony in Australia.
So this is a fairly basic guitar, but it's a high quality instrument. It's a set neck. You could make a bolt-on neck. I've got a whole section on the bolt-on neck if you prefer. But I would recommend that you make something fairly basic like this, right? Because then you're dialing in your methods and you're collecting your tools together, okay? So by the time you finished your first guitar, and it won't be such a trauma, because I've chosen this guitar to be the best quality guitar you could possibly build, but using the simplest methods, okay? So by the time you finish this, you'll have all the methods down, and then the world's your oyster. The sky's the limit. Then you can start customizing and redesigning and building your own dream guitar, okay? So that is what I recommend. And yeah, best of luck to you, Apo, and hope it all works out. We're there for you if you need any help on the forum, and that goes for everybody else too, okay? So, while I've got you, I just want to do a little shout out to James Perry and Karen. James is one of my students on the course, and he's just bought one of my guitar making chisels, so thanks for that. But James and his wife are both nurses, so he's been too busy to build a guitar because he's been obviously inundated with work. And so I just want to say thanks to you guys, both of yous, for keeping us safe, looking after us all during the pandemic. Nice one, thank you. And thanks for supporting us as well during these difficult times. That goes for everybody, by the way. So, now moving on, James Bissett. So James Bissett, if you ever see James Bissett play, he's a brilliant player. I'm lucky that I actually know James, and I've seen him play. and I know he's a great player. So James is at the other end of the spectrum. James, I think, James he doesn't want to mess about, doesn't want to make a basic guitar. He wants to go straight for the humdinger, all right? So I'm going to play a little slideshow in a second. Carol's going to play us a little slideshow, and I'm going to show you what James has set out on his path, okay? And before we do it, I've got to say, this is not recommended, James. So the path you have taken is not the one I would recommend. What I would recommend is that you start with something basic like this, and you could still do this. I would still recommend you do this, right? Because you can have this one finished in 5 days or a week, depending on how much time you can put into it. It's about 8 or 9 hours to build this for me. Probably take you a bit longer, but my point is you could have this one done and dusted, and it would give you a lot more experience ready for when you're doing the humdinger. However, having said that, some people just want to go straight for the humdinger. All the bells and whistles.
Like the custom course at the start.
Yes, so as Carol's pointing out, that's why we played that little film at the start, was filmed on our custom course. So if you just want to build a humdinger guitar and you want to come to our workshop, we run workshop courses. They're all closed down at the moment, which is why I'm here online, doing it all live for you. But normally we run workshop courses. People come to the workshop 4 at a time, and they build. Sometimes they start with a basic, or sometimes they come on the full-on custom course, which is an 8-day course with a day off in the middle. And they can build whatever they want, pretty much, within reason. So yeah, so the guitars that you saw building at the start, they were built in 7 days, 8 days with a day off in the middle, on our course. So James is going one step beyond. If you don't mind, Carol, I think we'll have the yeah. If you could pause it. There's 4 pictures I want to show you. So the first 2 pictures are questions about the neck joint. All right. If you press the first 2, question this neck joint here. Yeah, wrong one. Media bin 2. It's complicated, isn't it? This live stuff. So I'm going to show you a few details about this neck joint. So this is a set neck. Few technical issues there, but we got there in the end. So this, right, so James wants to make something resembling a hollow body guitar that we're going to show you in a minute. But we've got some issues about the neck joint, right? And he sent me this picture and he's asking me, can we angle that back? Now, if this was a bolt-on neck, then you need those 4 bolts through, right? That's what we would call recessed neck anchor washers. On a Strat or something, you'd see a big plate there, a big chrome plate with the screws through. But in this case, whoever's made this has used recessed neck anchor washers. It's a good way to reduce the heel area and give you a little bit better access to the higher frets. So if you were making a bolt-on neck, then that's how you would have to go about that. But if you show the next picture, Carol, while I have a little swig of tea. Yeah, it's going to roll over to the next picture. So the next picture shows what it would look like if it was a set neck. You can cut that bit off that I've marked in red, you see. So you can cut that off completely. You don't need it at all. But you just have to make sure that the neck tenon extends under the front pickup, or in this case, I've hidden it with a scratch plate. So there is more information on that on previous live streams, and I've covered this all on the course. But that would be the difference between a bolt-on and a set neck. Hopefully that's clear. Now, having said all that, the guitar that you've chosen to make is that one in the middle. Ghost face in the middle there. So what's that? Big Ginger. Big Ginger and
Vox.
the Vox. Right, so what's it called? Vox? We can't remember what it's called. Right. Now then, so James put this picture up and was trying to decide what he's going to do with the neck joint. Okay. Now, the guitar on my left. This is really confusing. Right, so the Vox is the yellowy looking one. And
Tornado. Vox Tornado.
Vox Tornado is the yellowy looking one. And Big Ginger is the reddish looking one, the orangey one. Okay. So look at Big Ginger.
Fantastic.
Big Ginger's chunky. Big Ginger's like, I don't know, 3 inches thick or something, 3 or 4 inches thick. And I can see down the side of the, if I look down the side of this part, I can see it's a dovetail neck. So that one is a dovetail neck joint, more than likely. And if you're making a big chunky guitar like that, then I would dovetail it. Now the other guitar is a Vox, and just by looking at it, I think I could tell that it was a bolt-on neck. And because the body's a lot thinner, you see, so there isn't enough meat for a dovetail. So just by looking, I mean, it's only a small picture and I can't see that much. But because the body's a lot thinner, I'm guessing that it's a bolt-on neck. In fact, I Googled it and I found a picture of the back and I know that it is a bolt-on neck. So I cheated. So yes, so
Gorgeous.
You've actually got there 2 completely different instruments. That it's what I call construction style. So they're almost like, I mean, they're both guitars, they're both in the guitar family, but they're completely different. And if we now just skip to your drawing, let's have a look at the drawing. So James made this amazing drawing, or acquired it from somewhere, and he's on Mac. I'm on PC, so it doesn't work for me, but you might have heard us mention earlier about there's a free software called Graphics. Is it called Graphics, Carol? Can you check that? Can you guys in the comments check that? I think it's called Graphics. Darren was saying thank you for finding that for us, so cheers for that, James. That was new to some of us. Unfortunately, I'm a PC user, so it's no good to me. But for you Mac users, we think it's called graphic.com or graphic or something like that, and it's a free drawing program that he's used to make this amazing picture. So yes, now if I'm looking at the depth of this body, you see, look at the depth of that body. There's plenty there for a dovetail, and in fact, I did a zoom up. So if you show the next picture, I did a zoom up of the neck joint, and in fact, you can see it is indeed a dovetail, which I discreetly pointed out with an arrow there. You can see how the neck is actually extending into the body there. Well, that's showing me that it's a dovetail. Now, it's not actually that difficult. So, James, if your heart is set on building this type of guitar, if you're going to ignore my wise wisdoms, you could do both. Why not do both? That's what I would do. Have the longer term project going and have the quicker one going at the same time. But what I would do is I would do the dovetail as shown on your drawing. And when the time comes, I'll definitely make a video to show you how to do it, if I haven't already, okay? So I'll make you that promise. That promise I make to you. I will show you how to dovetail your joint. Now you could, if you wanted to make more of a 335 style, which is a lot thinner body, then I'd probably recommend either you do the Vox style that you've got and have it bolted on. That's the easiest. Or you could do some kind of set neck that we were talking about. But having gone through all the ins and outs and inspected your drawing in full detail, closer inspection, I would recommend that go for your dovetail. If that's the guitar you want to build, put a dovetail on it. It's not as hard as you might think. But using my method would be using the router, and so you would need to buy a dovetail cutter, which would be 20 or 30 pounds. And you'd have to make a jig. You could just use scrap wood. I did. Mine's made from scrap plywood. So I'll show you that when the time comes, if not before. Okay, so.
James says that graphic is not free. It's reasonable, but it's not free.
Okay, apologies for the misinformation. Graphic, it's called graphic, and it's not free. But it won't break the bank, apparently. So, should we switch back? Thanks, Carol. So now I'm going to do the live demonstration part. Thanks to James for that. Brilliant questions, and hopefully that has answered questions for you. Maybe help some other people out as well. We like that logo, don't we, Carol? We need to do some training, don't we, Carol?
Oh, yeah.
Press pull, Carol. Pull. Back.
Oh.
We're back. Wrong camera. I'm going to clean this up in a minute, guys.
Can you not point out
But my scraper is blunt. So I'm going to show you how we sharpen a scraper. This is because when I was sharpening a chisel the other day, somebody asked me how to sharpen a scraper, and I didn't have time to cover it at the time. So we're going to do it now. Give us 10 minutes, we'll have a nice sharp scraper. I might have a go at this one actually, because this one's really knackered. Get the close-up camera on this one. Look at the state of that.
Hold on.
Oofty. Okay. First things first then would be to clean up the sides of this. It's a right mess. So it would take ages to clean up the whole side. So all we need to do is clean up the bit at the edge, all right? So there's a couple of little tricks you can do. You can just press down on the edge like that. I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you can see around the side. How's that? Better.
Put your joint to be in the top corner.
Right, what am I doing? I'm cleaning up the edges. So you can do this. I'm using my diamond stone and I'm looking at the edge. So you can see it's already cleaning up there. Can we see that? It's already cleaning up there. We only need about 1/8 of an inch or so. And one way you could speed it up is if you put a ruler on there, a thin ruler. This is a little trick that chefs use. They use a little, Lewis taught me this. They use a little, like a quarter, a coin, under the knife to give you the right angle. If you put a little ruler there, then I'm doing this edge. That will help you just to clean up the edge rather than wasting too much time. See, it's starting to clean up. I've done about 80% of it, I think, now. I don't think you can see it.
Yeah.
Trying to get a reflection.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
Yeah.
You can see that edge there, nice and shiny. So, if you've already got one that's fairly new, like this one, you probably can skip this part. If this starts to take too long, I might just skip it as well and do a different one. I don't want to bore you. So that's how you can clean up the sides. Well, that's almost got it. There's a big chip out of this one. So I'm going to put that to one side and leave it. Let's do this one. Yeah. So the important thing first is to have squares, a nice clean faces and a square edge. So this one will be quicker if I do this one. I would always use my diamond stone for this. Don't use an ordinary whetstone because you'll end up putting grooves in it with these narrow tools. Lovely. So nice and clean on the edge, all the way along. Just that last 1/8 of an inch is all we need on both sides. It's hard to see, isn't it?
No, that's it. No, back a bit more forward, tilt down a bit. No, the way you
Do a
were
bit more on that side. Yeah, you don't need to use the rule arm. You can use the ruler if it helps, but you don't need to. There, you can see that now. Just that last little bit's cleaned up. Go on, suggestions?
Well, a couple of people were suggesting that you use double-sided tape for your ruler.
Brilliant idea. Why not? So to clean up the edge, if the edge is really bad, you can use a file. So you can clamp your straight edge in a vise, sorry. Or here's another little trick. You can just use your block of wood again. Hold your file there. My block of wood's too big. I'll use it that way, like that.
Well, can't see it.
Hand clamp it like this.
Can't see.
So you can just hold your file against a piece of wood like that. And then rub the edge, and that will hold it flat and square. This is a fine tooth file, so it's not too rough. Let's have a look. So yeah, this one didn't need a lot of cleaning up. I'm going to finish it on the diamond stone. Yeah, this would ruin a whetstone if you did this. So don't do this on your oil stones or your whetstones. Even on a diamond stone, I'm going to make sure I keep moving. And I'm just using the guide there to hold it square for me. It's just helpful. So that's stage one pretty much complete. A nice square edge and clean. So not too difficult. Now the next thing is to draw out a burr and then turn the hook. So traditionally they would have used a screwdriver, or you can use an old drill bit, but I don't really recommend this anymore. Most modern screwdrivers are too soft. They're softer than the metal. You need something that's harder than your scraper blade. This is made from spring steel and it's quite hard. So you need something that's harder than that. And what we do is we draw it along the edge. We're drawing out a burr. Okay. And then we change the angle and we do it again, and that's called turning the hook. I'll draw you a little diagram maybe after I've done it, but I'm going to show you a little trick. In fact, let me get you, I can't remember where it came from, but I found this. I haven't seen anybody demonstrating these, so I thought I'd show you a little secret that I use for burnishing. So this has got a little burnisher built into it, a little hard piece of steel, and it holds it at the right angle for you. So it's called a scraper burnisher, and it came from Timberline Tools. So I don't even know if they still make it, but what we do, if we switch back to the other camera, Carol, I'm going to show you the diagram that comes with these instructions. Look. So we start off with our square edge, which you've seen me do. Square edge. Make a nice square edge. Then we draw out the burr. So step 2, draw out a burr. We're trying to make this little peak here by squashing the metal down and then drawing it out. And we draw out a little burr. Okay? And then the last job is to turn the hook. So a great little set of instructions, this. I was going to try and draw that with a pencil, but I thought, why not just show you the actual thing? So I got mine, couldn't tell you where I got it from, but Timberline Tools is the actual manufacturer, and it's called a scraper burnisher, and just makes it a lot easier, holds it at the right angle for you. So if I put my bit of wood there and my bit of thing on top, to do this by hand, we would get our drill bit and we hold it almost flat, but just about 5 degrees, tip it just about 5 degrees, a little bit. And then you just rub it up and down a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe something like that. You can actually, and then we put it at an angle, a bit more of an angle, and turn the hook. So the other side I'm going to do with the burnisher, turn it over. So it's got a first side which holds it almost flat. Just give it a rub and then turn the hook with the second side. So it doesn't take much more than that. And then you can actually feels like a little microplane. And if I show you over here on this bit of scrap wood, I can do it one-handed. Wow, it's pretty sharp.
It's not a focus. Go on.
I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll put it in the vise and then I can demonstrate properly. So I'll show you with one of the blunt ones first. Blunt one. Look, nothing happening. Just dust. And then, wow, look at that. It's almost like a miniature plane. You get these super thin scrapes. It should come like that rather than dust. That's the blunt side, and then the sharp side. Brilliant. Trouble is, once you start, it's hard to stop. But there you go, that's that. So, let's have a look over here, Carol. Now I've got a nice sharp pencil, scraper. Let's see if we can get a close up.
Look at the shavings are beautiful.
Oops.
Look at the shavings.
How's that look?
Where are you from?
What I'm going to do here is anchor my hand like that and then rotate if I find the sharp side, like this. And can you see the pattern coming out?
It's not as crisp
in close. Look at that. I've got to be a bit careful at the top here, because if I scrape off the edge there, then I can rip the front of the soundboard. I can rip the front of the soundboard there if I scrape off the edge. So I'm just going to be a bit careful. So
beautifuls and some awesomes here.
Gorgeous, eh? And so that, see how quickly that cleaned up? It's now flat. A quick sand just to finish it off. But you can see how quick that was, and it would have taken a lot longer if I did it
Just gorgeous.
if I did it all with the sandpaper. That would have taken a lot longer. Okay, so still a bit of cleaning up to do, but that's enough for me for now, because my next job is to finish the binding on this, and then I'll be sanding it again. So I don't want to over sand it, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And next job is to put the binding all around the front. Let's just take that off. So if you found any of that useful, interesting or exciting, then make sure to burnish the like button for me, would you? Can you just burnish it today? Maybe just turn the hook on the like button, then that would be great. If you're not already subscribed, then you can do that also, and all the YouTubey stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we've got a question before I go.
Well, we've got a few things.
Oh, we've got a few questions before we go.
Right, so
let's do that then, before we wrap it up.
Right, to add to your list of subjects, Adam Penner says, could you cover the acoustic arm bevel?
Yes.
Okay.
We can do that. Acoustic
Thomas,
arm bevel on the list.
that was Adam Penner. Thomas says, could you show how to do a veneer on a carved top?
A veneer on a carved
How
top.
to put a veneer. I don't know if he means a cap, but we'll...
Suppose. I wouldn't put a veneer on a carved top. To me, it's poor quality doing that.
Does he mean
because I would rather, if I'm doing a carved top, I would rather start with a thicker piece and carve it. I guess I'm a bit snobby when it comes to that. Veneers have their purposes, but I would say not to veneer a carved top. Maybe 335 style, if you would call that a carved top, then yeah, we're doing 335s would be laminated with veneers. But personally, I wouldn't laminate a carved top. If you were going to though, then the only way to do it would be to see Darren at bagpress.com and get yourself a bag press vacuum bag, and then you can veneer something that's awkward shapes, like a carved top. So the way to do that would be a vacuum bag. Good question though. Cheers for that.
Jim McMillan says, can you something about doing something using reclaimed or recycled or green materials? He's already had a tabletop, a door, and something else as well. So we're all having a laugh about his house, which is pretty empty.
Yeah, have you got any furniture left, Jim?
You had earlier on, Matt Tomon said, you seem to like teaching. Thank you, because we need more teachers.
Well, thank you for listening.
And Clint in Hawaii said that he was just saying, like, when you talked about using the videos, he said that he finished 2 of his guitars within 2 weeks after 2 years of trying to do it by using the thing. So that's really
So I managed to unblock somebody.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
So it was all worthwhile, wasn't it?
And TV asked a question about what are those last things you did? Shavers, not shavers.
Scraping.
Yeah, scrapers. Can you make the curved end sharp?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Exactly the same technique. It's a lot harder though because it's curved. Let me just see if I can grab a curved one. I don't know if I can find one, but just quickly, I don't know if I can. Oh, here's one. Yeah, I've got one. Okay, so we don't sharpen these too often, and we take a bit more care of these because it's a lot more harder to sharpen. But you turning the hook and thing is easy peasy. So the difficult thing really is just getting a nice flat square edge. You've got to get the sides flat first, but only that 1/8 of an inch, so it's not that tricky. But let me show you. You can just do this again. Hand clamp your file with a block like this, and you just turn. You just do this. You turn it as you go. So you can clean up your edge like this. So it's a very fine-tooth file, and then you go over it with the diamond stone again, like that. So you don't have to use the vise, you can do it all out of the vise like this. But it's just easy. Sometimes it's easier to put the diamond stone in a vise. Okay, so that's how you sharpen a curved one. It's just exactly the same, it's just a bit more tricky. Good luck with sharpening your scrapers. Go on.
Right, you've got 2 more things. So
Two more questions and then we're
one
done.
Is EP says, have you got any advice on how to sell a guitar or gain a good reputation for the guy right at the beginning who wanted to be a luthier? Tricky, I'd imagine. And I said it might be a thing for another session. Really.
Yeah, that is a thing for another session. I'm going to give you just a few things off the top of my head, right? Every guitar maker has another source of income, all right? So I was talking earlier about me being a professional guitar maker and sacrificing everything. Well, I still do guitar repairs. So I do guitar repairs and I also run guitar making courses. And that's where most of my income comes from, to be honest. Selling guitars is a lot harder. The problem is, you put one of my guitars in a shop next to a guitar that was made in China that's £60 and mine's £1,600. People, however much they love me, you know, they always pick up the one. Also, everyone goes for the name they recognise. So even however much they love playing my guitar, they love it, they'll always buy the Fender or the Gibson because it's got the recognisable name, which is easy to sell on. Having said all that, there are enough people out there, they've had their Fenders and Gibsons, they want something different and they want something a bit special. And there is enough of those guys out there to keep people like me busy. So yeah, thank you to anyone who's ever commissioned a guitar from me. You guys are amazing. You guys are the pioneers And you know, guitar players, they all think, oh, I'm individual, I'm my own player, but they all play the same guitars. Open any guitar magazine, I guarantee you'll find a picture of a Strat or a Les Paul. It's just the way it is. People are much less inclined to take a punt on somebody they don't know. So my advice to you is just to build, and sell them for whatever you can get for them. One of the mistakes I made early on was to hold out for full price, and then I ended up just with a rack full of guitars that would never sell. If a guy offers you 10% off, just take it, because then you can make another guitar. You might not get full price every time, but at least you've got a guitar out the door, and then you've got the money to make another guitar. So when you're starting out, you need to make guitars, just so that you've got something to show people. And when people come, you can say, look, I can make you something like this, or I could make you something like this, rather than just them believing that you can do it. Take as many pictures as you can, then you can show them pictures. Start a YouTube channel. What else? Yeah.
You're doing the whole program.
I think off the top of my head, I think that's all I can think of. But yeah, respect and the best of luck to you if you're heading down that path. We're here to help you, so head over to the forum, and we're all there to help you out if you get stuck.
A couple of quick comments and then your final question of the day.
Go on then.
All right. So TV says, my Bailey guitar is a bit special.
Yes, it is a bit special. It was that special we made a postcard out of it.
And Clint Superclunk in Hawaii said it came from your hands, and that alone is something special, so that's fine. And put that down, because that is your last question.
Yeah.
Your last question.
Last question.
From Darren Bagpress, and he said, right, the very first question of the day this was, how sticky is the unicorn poo? That was the very
Shall we find out?
Question.
Shall we find out? Right, well, I'll show you the gold tape first. So, I've put the truss rods away. So when we make a truss rod, can you see a red one?
No.
Oh, I've put them away now. Give me that one then. So you've seen recently, on a recent live stream, we made a truss rod, and we wrap it with tape. So we had a question from my apprentice, Lewis, who was at home being cheeky. And he said, how can you make me sound as good as Tommy Emmanuel? So somebody suggested a gold truss rod glued in with unicorn poo. So Lewis went on eBay and he found gold tape. So now we can wrap our truss rods in gold tape. Look. I'm not going to waste it, because he's gonna do his truss rod. It's going to be our first gold truss rod. And I'm not sure about the unicorn poo though, guys. If you don't believe me, it is actually real unicorn poo. How sticky is it? Oh, look. It's like the back of my hand, look. Remember that test to see how old you are? And remember, when you were young, it used to just disappear. And now it takes a bit longer than it used to. Yeah. That's me now, that's my neck. That's what it looks like if you pull the skin on the back of my neck. So yeah, unicorn poo. Real unicorn poo. Thanks for that, Lewis. I'm sure we'll find a use for it.
Well, I can't wait to hear him playing like Tommy.
How sticky is it?
Okay, is it time to go?
It's pretty sticky. It's come to this now, Carol. I've got unicorn poo on my face. So, yeah. If you enjoyed that, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. And more importantly, remember, cut twice. No, don't do that. It's the unicorn poo. It sent me It sent me dizzy.
Do not cut twice.
Don't cut twice. No. What do? We check twice and we cut once. Check twice, cut once, folks. Thanks for watching. See you next time.